Welcome back to Less Kevin, More Tech from UTEC IT. And you'll have to, full disclosure here, disclaimer, right? Les, we got to get this out here.
We need to get it out.
Sleep deprived.
Baggy eyes.
Bourbon filled, right? We had a wonderful night last night at our favorite restaurant here, Brighton Bar and Grill. And I think it was, dark 30 in the morning. We reached for, we convinced them to keep it open all night, and we were out of bourbon.
There's no bourbon left.
We said, we need some more
Effing
bourbon.
Kevin said, go grab the effing bourbon now.
And what they do, out popped our guest, Greg, right?
Yep. Came through the door like Superman.
Came crashing in. And so since we're delirious and have no idea what we're doing today, we had to bring in our favorite podcaster and bourbon expert, right, Rob?
Yeah, I appreciate that. Thank you.
So with that, FKNG Bourbon, and we should say, too, that we might use, that's the trade style name, right? But we might use the real name behind it. So our favorite Santo girls, if you're out there listening, earmuff it, because you're not above 18 and you can't hear these words.
That, by the way, is our two fans.
Yes,
All right.
Yeah.
Both of them. Both of them in Chicago. They are 8th and 6th grade, respectively. So...
but they're leading the charge.
Just tell them to skip this episode. just put it on the shelf for 5 years.
FKNG Bourbon and Vodka, but the real name is what? Resist Spirits, Greg?
Well, the company's called Resist Spirits, and our two products that we have today is FKNG Vodka and FKNG Bourbon. And actually, FKNG for trade purposes and for compliance, the acronym stands for Four Kings, Not Gods.
Yeah.
And that actually comes from our inspiration of you've got to be the king of your domain, the king of your territory, pursuing your goals and striving to achieve and live life to the max, because life is short. We are not gods. Oh, yeah. Mm-hmm. So that is the, in a short version, what our brand ethos is all about. Absolutely.
Yeah. Why don't we start out? Just tell us a little bit about you. Let's start with your full name, Martinez, right?
Sure.
And just a little history, how you landed here, and because it's a great story.
Well, we can't go too deep in it because he was started with a little bit of the Secret Service.
Right.
Those got to remain secret. Yeah. So if you want to find out, you got to go to his website. You got to find him on Twitter. Yep. You got to all the stories. But
yes,
Southwest Detroit, go.
Absolutely. Well, first of all, thank you very much for inviting me to be on the podcast. I greatly appreciate that. But as you mentioned, I'm from Southwest Detroit. I actually went to Detroit Public High School, Southwestern High School, class of '85, and this is during the '80s, really crazy period of our economic and Detroit history, and was very, very challenging. But despite all of that, I got into Wayne State University, and I had wanted to major in criminal justice. One of my uncles was in the FBI, and he was like an inspiration for myself. But I wanted to try and get into law enforcement on my own merits, and I was able to get into a co-op program that the Secret Service was launching. And actually, that slot was already slotted for an individual from Michigan State University, but I was able to negotiate my way and get in front of that guy. So here you got a Wayne State University, Detroit Public High School graduate that actually beat out Michigan State. All respect to those guys, because they do have a great, phenomenal criminal justice program.
They're all criminals at Michigan State, aren't they?
Says the Ohio State Buckeye.
yeah. But I had a great, phenomenal experience with them. It showed me a world that I was very fascinated, and I had a chance to work with those individuals, top-level guys. And actually, one of my partners in this business that we have for alcohol beverages, his name is Reggie Ball, and he served under 4 presidents, and he was the captain of the counter assault team. And the guy was my inspiration and my mentor, and we've been friends ever since for the last 35 years.
Great. Is he local?
He is. He is definitely local. Yes.
Got to have both you guys back just to talk about those kind of stories.
Yeah, absolutely. And so after I was in that, I worked also for White House Advance. And the White House's Advance is a team that goes out in advance to a presidential visit. And again, worked with phenomenal folks in both private enterprise and in government. And it was a great opportunity. Shortly thereafter, I worked at Allstate Insurance in their governmental affairs department. And then I decided to go into the private sector. And I had a business for 19 years in the auto industry. And what we did there was quality control. At one point, we had up to 900 employees in 4 different countries. But this is where the foundation of our company's at, because it's always been about striving and working hard to be your best and do your best and achieve your goals. And so the folks that I hang around with and those individuals, those are the people that are also part of our group. We've got Air Force pilots, we've got real estate investors, we've got business executives that are part of our group. But our story is not unique. We know there are millions of people out there that also have a very direct kind of experience that we have.
They're aspirational.
Absolutely. Yeah. So we wanted to create a product that would resonate for them and something that they could celebrate with and share that with everybody else out there. And that's how we came up with the brand.
That's great.
Yeah. That's awesome. That's how you came up with the brand, but how did you come up with the name?
So, so we were at a club. We were celebrating somebody's liquidation.
In Detroit again, right?
In Detroit, that's absolutely right. So it was booming, it was loud, and it was packed. And
like us last night, Kevin.
That's right, just like last night. So we had run out of our bottle, and so I'm thinking like, wow, in a Detroit kind of nice gesture, I said, hey, we need another bottle of fucking vodka. So as soon as those words left my lips, I thought, wow, this could be the product that I'm looking to market out there. And so I left the club and I called my attorney and said, hey, I want to try and trademark fucking vodka. He says, Greg, that's going to be very unlikely. At the time, you could not have anything obscene or offensive. So sure enough, we got the notice that was not going to fly. So I said, okay, let's put FKNG. And then we got a notice that they want to understand what that means because they're not stupid. So I said, and this is when I had that international business, MTZ Global. I said, tell them you can't find me, but I will get back with you and let you know what that means. So my last day in Mexico, I'm in bed and I'm thinking, what does FKNG mean? And I said, 4 kings, not gods. This is exactly our lifestyle. Right. This is what we've done our entire life. So I got up and I wrote the distillery. This is what FKNG means. It says, Greg, that's phenomenal. We thought you were going to tell us it meant Frank, Karen, and Greg. I said, no, man. This goes with our lifestyle of what we're all about. So about 10 days later, they gave us that notification that it would be accepted. Yeah.
That's great.
Very good. Yeah. So just a real quick question. What's your website?
Thank you. Resistspirits.com. Resistspirits.com.
And it's a great story because you talk about your brand in there and, the photography's fantastic. It's really a powerful website.
Thank you.
Well, because we're humble, us.
Yeah.
The nice thing about his website is he used that ab picture.
Yes.
And it's got our abs in there.
Know,
so if anybody, I know the table cuts us off.
I know a lot of people say I've got 6-pack abs, but I know it's more like a keg. But
no, that's great. I mean, they're there for inspirational, motivational purposes, right? That's right.
One of the more unique things I found about your brand is that one of the problems that companies have when they enter into a market is they want to go so broad. They want to take an approach of we're for everybody.
Yeah.
And one of the more unique things I found about your company is right on the bottle it says this is not for everybody. And you guys have. My question was largely centered around how did you guys, when you were setting your approach for who to put these bottles in front of, how did you determine who that demographic was?
So it goes again, we want to try and appeal to those individuals that have that same philosophy in life. We want those individuals that approach life in a warrior manner, people that are bold, people that have a powerful mindset to achieve their goals. And we know with our name especially, we're not going to appeal to everybody, right? So we want to stay hard and fast with what our our brand is. I've been a student of success, and I need a lot more studies, but I've always listened to Jim Rohn, Les Brown, Zig Ziglar. And so these are the concepts that inspire me and motivate me and my peer group as well. So we want to create a product for that demographic, because we also know we're going to get the low-hanging fruit that this is a fucking cool brand. So yeah, that's how we decided to do it. And I think we're very successful. We're in over 300 locations, and we've crossed all geographic and demographic boundaries. We got people from all over the country. We got NFL, NBA athletes that have reached out to us and see how they can get involved. So we knew then that we've got a product here that has mass appeal.
Yeah. No, that's really good. And when you look at it from the perspective of growth, when you identify who that target is, it just makes dumping that accelerant in there much easier, because now you're not trying to appeal to, like, we want to sponsor a bingo hall. No, we don't want to do that. We want to, you want to be in the sports venues and in the bars and in college, and it makes a lot more sense.
Absolutely. So we also recognize that name is going to get people to have an interest and try it out. The next thing is we got to have the magic in the bottle.
Sure.
So overwhelmingly, when we did our vodka, it came out first. We threw in an unfiltered vodka, and we did a blind taste test with over 50 beverage directors and bartenders, and a great vast majority of everybody picked the unfiltered vodka. And if you don't know this, about 99% of vodka is filtered. We went with an unfiltered product. We wanted to keep more of the body and the characteristics in there, and people tell us they cannot believe how smooth and delicious it is.
You got to have a product behind it. They'll try it once, but to get them to come back, and if anybody samples your stuff, it's great tasting. It's smooth. It's a pleasure.
I think we should actually go down that experiential path at this point in time.
I already beat you on the road.
Yep.
Yeah, we can do it again.
Go.
Let's go. Let's.
Wow.
Good stuff. Good stuff.
First thoughts, Rob.
I like it. I was talking in the pre-show. There's several different bourbons that this reminds me of, but I overall it's really, really good.
Yep.
It's smooth. It isn't super harsh. It's got a really nice profile, so I really dig it.
Now, what do you call? Because I've heard you talk. Because you're a bourbon aficionado, right?
Yeah, I like it.
Be fair.
Sure.
Be fair. You study it. You've taken your trips to Kentucky and.
Out of business necessity, yes.
Oh, yes. Yeah. You're one of those guys that only buy the magazine for the articles, right?
Right. Sure, we'll go with that.
But what do you call that at the tail end? Because I've heard you use the word...
How it finishes.
Yeah.
So, this is really nice. And if you don't mind, I'm going to talk about another brand that I'm not a big fan of, and it's Larceny. Larceny has more of like a honey finish. And I'm just not a big fan of that. Well, largely, like, it's not a honey bourbon because you can't have added flavors in bourbon, but I think that's just the barrel that they finish it in. And I'm just not a fan of that. And this is much more of a classic finish, which I enjoy a lot more.
Because I can feel and I can taste it. So I understand what you're talking about. Maybe not to the discerning level that you experience it.
And everyone's had, bourbon like you're at a wedding or something. And I mentioned in the pre-show, like 10 high, like no one wants, you don't want to be that guy. It just, you have to give yourself a couple CPR compressions to get it down. It's just not good,
Well, I think using unsophisticated review of this at 8:30 in the morning, it's fucking great. Right? And if you like it in the morning, you're going to love it at night.
Yes.
Can we get that on the bottle?
Well, guys, I want to give the full credit to my partner, Mark Boyer. He's the bourbon aficionado, and he designed the mash bill, which is a 36% high rye. He also wanted to come in at a proof of 88, so that way is our entry into the market. We would appeal to a greater number of individuals, and everybody phenomenally has got great reviews about it.
Yeah, it was spot on it.
Yeah,
He did a great job.
And what's the price point on the bourbon right now?
So right now that's at retails about $37.99.
Okay.
Yes.
What about the vodka?
The vodka's at $19.99.
Good
Great
price
values.
points. Good
Yeah,
price
right.
points.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah.
So you know a little bit more about this than you let on, right?
Right.
It's not just a guy that threw his name on there. You've spent a lot of time perfecting this and researching it and done your homework.
Yeah, so as I had mentioned, I was in quality control for the auto industry. And if you're going to start a business, there's no greater place to get experience with the auto industry. So with the quality control background, and I was looking for distilleries, I wanted an enterprise that had process, that had control, they had repeatability, they had a laboratory, because I wanted to make certain that our first bottle was identical to the 10,000th bottle. And so that was very big for us, and we found a location out in Wisconsin, and I also wanted it to be in the Great Lakes, and we also wanted it to be 100% USA made. So, we did a lot of studying, and we found a great location, and we're very happy with it.
Yeah, like that. When you have those external ventures, when you're getting rolling, it makes it a lot easier to to have long-term sustainability, because it's not just, as you said, about the dollar. It's also about what is the other mission of the company, and that is ever present on your guys' website branding. Even when I was talking to the gentleman at your guys' March Madness event, that was a part of the pitch, which is interesting for a, I'm trying to sample a bourbon and he's talking about the mission of the company, which I love. It's not just a, here, try this and buy it.
I think it was either Jim Rohn or Zig Ziglar that said, if you love what you do, you don't have to work a day in your life.
That's exactly right. Yeah. I firmly believe that. Yeah.
Well, yeah. And we should say we want to thank Joe Green, one of our sales reps. He said he was out prospecting. I don't know what restaurant bar he was prospecting at, but he stumbled across you guys, and I think through a mutual friend, and we invited you in for our March Madness, and you accepted it just like that.
Yeah.
Came in. I think you stole the show there. Everybody, there was a line.
Right.
Yeah, thank you. Thank
That
you
was
for the opportunity.
Do you remember your talk track that you were delivering there, or no?
I don't. I've done so many of these.
Yeah, it was a great talk track. You had about a 2-second cover on your history, service and testing, and then whack. It was just like this, and you had your different flavors, and it was
a good elevator pitch.
It was like, oh man, this is great. Yeah.
So what's next for you?
So I've been spending some time down in Mexico, and I go down to Mexico for business, and we're getting ready for our tequila. And I think we found our distillery. And so we're getting all of the dry goods and the packaging and the designs ready for that. So hopefully by the end of, by midsummer, we'll have that. We've also had our prototype cigars that we received in the early part of the fourth quarter of last year. And we've had overwhelming response with those flavors. We've got 4 different cigars that are coming in. These are coming in from the Dominican Republic. They're all hand rolled, and those have been had a phenomenal response as well.
So, when you talked about the bourbon, you have a partner that's an aficionado. Right? Who's your tequila aficionado?
Myself.
I knew it. I knew we were going to get to that.
Yes. Yeah, you can leave the consultants at home, boys. I got this covered.
I'll do all the quality control and testing. That's right.
Well, you see that background and that quality control and everything you do. I mean, from what our experience has been with you, the product's phenomenal. You know, the service, the touch, your advertising on your website. I mean, everything is top notch and professionally done. I like it.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, one thing I was thinking about with the brand is it'd be cool. Again, take it or leave it, but like it'd be cool if you guys had subscription boxes for the fellas.
Okay,
what a cool
I'd
brand
like that idea.
would be. Like the FKNG boxes.
Right.
Every month you just get a different cigar. You get a little branded cutter. I think people would be down for that.
Yeah, I think Shelley would like to have you on her team for marketing.
Yeah,
well, that can be arranged. Rob says
it can be arranged. Yeah. No, the brand is dope, and it's just it's a it's a blue ocean. You guys have unlimited potential just because of the value of the brand, and that's half the battle. Mm-hmm. If it was just like another standard bourbon or another standard liquor, you don't have that much diversity in the market, and then you enter into that red ocean where it's super competitive. But you guys have a very easy way of standing out in the marketplace. Yeah,
you mentioned blue ocean. I had studied those concepts, and also purple cow. Yeah. You see a white cow, brown cow, black cow, big deal, but you see that purple cow, and it makes you look at it twice and say, "Is that exactly what I think it is?"
I'm getting
So
some
we
purple
capture their
milk, son.
attention. There we go.
That's from drinking the tequila, isn't it?
Yeah.
You see 16 purple cows.
That cow was white when we started.
Yes. But it falls into those concepts. So yeah, we can get the attention, but as I mentioned, you got to have the magic in the bottle.
Right.
And I believe we do. We hit the mark with that.
You have consistency throughout, because there's been a lot of great brands. Then you try and be like, well, wow, that sucks.
Yeah.
You know, but the consistency is super important.
Awesome.
What's been one of the biggest challenge you face? I mean, because you just can't pour something in a bottle and go out and sell it. You know, what's the challenge that you face that you guys have overcome, and maybe share a defeat with us?
Yeah, Kevin, that's a great question. You've got to have a very strong team. We discovered that when you want to go out into the market, because this is a very competitive business, you've got to have a strong team that's going to lead the way. We looked for distributors that had brokers, and those individuals, they already have well-established brands, so they're going out there and taking orders. There's really no effort in that, taking orders. But when it comes time to like, hey, I've got a new brand you got to try, there's where we got to give them the support. And we've got a strong team. We've got some individuals that go out in the market every week, every day, and they're making the introductions. So you've got to have that, because you're not going to get that initially with those distributors that are out there. They already have those established brands, and they're going to push them first. So yes, that's a great question.
So you're articulating how you went from zero locations to 300, and it was just boots on the street.
Yes, we had initial assistance with the brokers, but when it comes down to it, your team has to push it. You've got to. There's no substitution for the hard work. You've got to go out there. You've got to knock on the doors, and you got to make it fucking work. And that's what it's all about.
Would you say that's because you're not a spectator, you're in the arena?
That's right. That's right. Yeah. No, that's one of my favorite quotes. "The Man in the Arena" by Ted Roosevelt. Yes, absolutely. Yep.
Have you ever read the book In the Arena by Richard Nixon?
I have read that book.
Yeah, isn't that
absolutely
an incredible
yes
story?
Yes, it is. I've read a couple of his books actually.
Yeah.
Yeah, what's interesting is like even with you mentioned, you know, it's not the most difficult thing to get with the brokers to get in the stores, but to keep it in the store, to keep it consistent, to keep the brand alive, that's where the challenge lies. It seems like you guys have been able to meet that bar, which is a big celebration for y'all.
Yeah, absolutely. We've got a long way to go. This is a tall mountain to climb.
Oh, for sure.
But we're doing it. We participate in as many bourbon and spirit festivals as possible. We're out at the retailers doing introductions and pours and tastings. So those are the fundamentals of the blocking and tackling that you've got to do. And then when you're invited to a podcast such as this is just makes it a little bit more easier. And so we welcome this, and I want to thank you guys immensely for this opportunity.
Well,
Yeah,
we want to thank you for saving us with that bottle last night. Well, I think your business is kind of fascinating and kind of fun, and I think it parallels to ours, right?
Yeah.
Les, is that you've got a lot of big guys out there, you know,
Right.
and there's a lot of small guys out there just pretending, and you got to kind of weed your way through that, right? You don't have a name brand right now established yet, so you just can't rely on that. But you've got to go out and make it happen every day. You've got to do what you promise.
Got to be in the arena.
Yeah,
That's right.
You know, you got to hustle and earn it. And
Right.
It's exciting.
It's the
I
only one.
love the challenges. I love going out there. I like the David versus Goliath story, and we're doing that, and it's getting one consumer at a time to come and try it and be a fan of ours.
That's great. Well, we can help you.
Thank you.
You want to.
Absolutely. We'd love that.
Well, before we walk outside, I was going to ask you, what's the forecast for today?
Winning.
100%.
I love it, man.
Yeah.
Right.
You know, I chuckle every time I see that on a thing.
Yeah.
Forecast today is 100% winning.
Yep.
That's right.
So, well, good. Anything else we didn't ask you that we should know about Resist Spirits and the FKNG brand?
Try our bourbon and our vodka and be ready for our tequila and cigars later this summer.
Yeah. Now, how long does it take to get something like that launched?
That's a great question. It took us about a year. I did all the filing and registrations myself. We didn't hire an attorney to get our federal permits, registrations for our importer, exporter license, wholesaler license. And then after you get your approvals from the TTB, then you've got to go to the state level. That takes some time too, because they're going to also approve your label. And then while that's happening, you want to make certain that your mash bill, your formulas are correct. And so it took us about 18 months to get from cradle to launch on the vodka. And then it was just a little bit easier for the bourbon. And the tequila, that's something that's going to be new for us because now we're going to be importing that. So we've got to get those registrations and permits out of Mexico and the U.S. as well.
Wow.
Yeah.
But you're learning as you go and just it's getting better. And
I really firmly believe you've got to do it yourself. You don't want to rely on anybody else, so you've got to get your hands dirty and get in there and understand the business that you're doing. You can't outsource that. So that's the approach that we take. We got to be strategic and we've got to be tactical about it.
yeah.
Well, no one's going to care as much as you.
Yeah.
Like, no one's going to care as much as the owner. So if you outsource it, who gives a shit? Like,
Right.
no one, it's like my employees. Like, I don't expect them to work like I do. Like, and I have more at stake. So of course, it makes absolute sense.
Well, Les, why don't you get his contact information? While you're doing that, we're going to wave in a pretty little girl and to come top us off here and we begged her to come on and talk to us, but
Right.
she didn't want to, right? She said she's just the face of the company. So we're going to bring her in real quickly and show us that. So
Introduce.
come on in.
Okay. Hey. Hi, guys.
Let's get her on camera. Can we get her on camera here?
Yeah. You can just put on this mic right here.
Here, real quick. Say hi. Tell us what you do.
You'll have to lean in a little bit there.
Lean right into the mic.
My name is Shelley Martinez. I'm Vice President of Marketing of one of the greatest spirits company that exists right now. Thanks for having us here today,
See, now we
guys.
got you on. It wasn't that bad.
It wasn't that
Yeah.
bad. I wanted the focus to be on the creator.
Real quickly, what's our favorite?
Yeah,
favorite
usually
brand
we-
of bourbon. We try to end the show with this.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, usually we ask our guests, what's your favorite brand?
My favorite bourbon is fucking bourbon. Four kings, not gods.
Salute
Yes.
and cheers.
Salute.
There you go. Salute.